Hey guys, FMPRox26 here, and today we're going to be doing the Extreme Egg Drop Challenge. Now, some of you may recognize this as the same egg drop machine I used on the test that I did at school, and it actually is, and this time I'm doing a much larger scale egg drop test. Now, if you look in here, it has no improvements to the design. Same how you still have the cushions and straws as you did last time. And everything is put in that big pyramid shape that so many people liked. And the latch is right there. And here's the egg I'm going to be using. Now, if you haven't seen it, you open this up, and here's the egg containment capsule right here. What happens is that the egg goes into here, and there is multiple layers of protection so that way, this is an independent unit. So if the outside shell breaks, you have some cushion down here as well. That way, and these stabilizer fins are to prevent rollovers, which should happen on a few early models. Now, I'm going to be testing this from about 3 stories high. Turns out the science test that we did for this thing in our science class, that was not as tall as I had anticipated it to be. So I'm going to be doing a much taller test, so that way we can actually see what the limits of this machine are. Now, after I'm done with the test, I'm going to explain all the structural problems that it would have during the fall. And also, in case you didn't know, in early tests of this model, it was so top-heavy that it would literally flip over and destroy the egg, which was up top, without any type of guard on top. So, I'm actually worried that this might happen this time from a much larger scale drop, because in the 6-meter drop, that did not happen. But this is about way more than 6 meters. This is at least 12, like 15 meters of drop height. So I'm going to go ahead and load this up, and so we're going to see what happens. Oh boy, it's hard to do this one-handed. What you might notice on the project is the fact that it is in a very distinct pyramid shape, and that was by popular request from my classmates, as well as a good amount of theories about the triangle with force equals mass times acceleration. So after the drop test, we will be going over the physics and everything that caused it to survive or not survive. And so we're going to test this out. Okay, dropping it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. Okay, let's survey the damage. It hit in the right direction. Oh boy. Yeah, I was worried this would happen. Okay. This is probably not good. Okay, let me unhook the latch. This latch has been causing me issues since day 1. Okay. Moment of truth. Oh my god, it survived. Look at how high up that is. Oh my god, it actually did survive. Let's see, let's take it out. Perfect! I could actually eat this tomorrow morning before I go to school and be fine. There's not a crack in it whatsoever. That is high. That is a high drop test. Look at that thing. It's like 1 story, 2 story, 3 stories. I mean, man, I actually thought that would break, but I mean, I guess not. And as far as structural damage goes, literally non-existent. I could drop this again if I wanted to. Yeah, everything seems to be in like day 1 condition. I'm actually impressed. Yeah, I didn't think it would survive that. And everything's fine. That was fun. Okay, so here we have the egg drop project post-test. And as you can see, if I open it up, here's the capsule. Take that out, and we have the egg. It's like 100% perfect. See, not a crack in it, no dents, no cracks, nothing. I could actually probably eat this. Just saying. It's like such a perfect shape. And as far as structural damage goes, now the capsule itself is not damaged. Looks like the sock has gone in by a little bit, but other than that, really no structural damage. If you look on the inside, you can see the toilet paper, clean by the way. And underneath it, you'll find the cotton balls that have held it. And up here is just extra cushion from parts of the sock. On the bottom, you have a sock, like the bottom half of the sock, and inside are some cotton balls for impact cushioning. Now, this gives us the main shell, which you can see the stabilizer fins for to make sure it doesn't flip over. You have a little extra cardboard buffer on this side, and you'll have some napkin on the front and back. I mean, toilet paper on the front and back to like reduce the impact pressure. Again, at the bottom, you have a row of straws that act as like straw cushions. You can imagine that. Then on the bottom you actually have toilet paper, as well as note cards and another sock with toilet paper in it as another cushion. And there's another additional toilet paper on the bottom. You can see some egg, because when I tested at school there were a lot of broken eggs on the ground. So this acts as like a primary cushion to prevent the straws from like getting really badly damaged. Now, the way I did this is, I have done an egg drop project before. It was not met with great success. It was mostly due to my teammate that I was working with. But in this design, instead of using the old traditional box type that would be much more effective, I had decided to use a pyramid type, which is actually really popularly requested at my school. Just saying. And now this thing, the pyramid alone was not enough to give it a lot of good, integrity. So I had to add stuff on the bottom, which kind of made it look a bit weird, but it still wasn't enough because it kept flipping over. So I take out some of the cushioning inside the containment capsule so that the egg would go downward and the center of gravity would be lower. I also added the fins, kind of ruining the look a bit, if you may, but yeah, they did help a lot, especially in this really high drop. And if you'll notice that when it landed, it seemed to land to the front a bit. And again, weight distribution just seems to always have been a bit more weight toward the front. As you can see, it creased here as well as here due to it landing more toward the front. That's also the reason I have this toilet paper here, is to reduce the force of that impact. Now, if you look inside, you can see a little crease on the back too, because it did. I think when it bounced off, it did hit on the back as well. But luckily, both fins are undamaged, and I knew these parts would probably get damaged, but they did not. And so that's basically the structural thing. The way it really worked is that it went in multiple stages. Now, if you'll notice, on the very bottom, I have the stiff straws. Those are what act as like a primary shock absorbers. Then you go to like more toilet paper and socks, get softer and softer. And then on the inside you have the sock and the cotton balls in it, as well as this, which is filled completely with foam. I mean, not foam, cotton balls and toilet paper. So it gets a bit softer as you go up. And this is to reduce the impact of the egg, but not so suddenly that the G-forces cause the egg to shatter. Because if you did have a lot of G-forces on the egg, its own weight, it would crush into itself. That's kind of what would happen if a human was standing on Jupiter. We would like be crushed by the sheer amount of pressure, like the G-forces. Well, not really the G-forces on Jupiter. That would be more gravity. But on a rocket or a space shuttle ride, ever felt like, well, no, like on those rides in like a theme park, a roller coaster or something like that, when you're going for like a really high-speed turn, you can feel you being pressed down in the seat. That's kind of what we're experiencing here inside this thing. It's lots of G-forces. Now, if those G-forces are too much, your blood flow would stop going to your brain, which is why you often hear people on roller coasters blacking out. Or in the Vietnam War, when the jet engine was first introduced into combat. No, that was actually World War II, but still, technically, people find they're playing so fast, especially the Russian pilots. The United States, they did have a backup for this. They had special vests you wore that prevented the blood from going all the way down to your feet and causing you to black out. But that was very common, and you had to usually slow down when you were making turns, because that was the first time aircraft had ever gone that fast. And even today, if you're not wearing the proper equipment, you can black out during a high-speed jet flight. So, well, and only in like military planes. But that's kind of what would happen here. The slowdown would be so sudden that it would cause the egg to just crumple up into itself. Not into itself, but toward the ground. So my goal was to reduce its velocity, but do so it would keep traveling. It wouldn't stay fixed in a position. It would keep traveling as it slowed down. That way it wouldn't just go to zero. It would go gradually, preventing too much damage to the egg. But the structure would take most of the hit, and as you can see, it came out perfectly fine. I have no idea how a pile of cardboard and toilet paper and socks survived this, but it's pretty much as high as I could drop it off. I mean, unless I climb up a tree, or I think I go like on top of like a really tall building. But I mean, the egg's fine. It's kind of hard to explain how this survived that fall, but it did. So, thanks for watching.